Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so you've sent over some really interesting stuff on language learning, and today we're going to unpack something pretty crucial, your mindset.
Yeah,
We're diving into how what you actually believe about your ability to learn a language might just be a total game changer.
exactly.
Right.
And there's quite a bit of research looking into these, well, they call them language mindsets.
Right.
It's basically your fundamental beliefs, about how language learning actually works. Some researchers really think these beliefs are like a key part of whether you succeed or kind of struggle.
And this one source really jumped out. It's a meta-analysis, which is basically like a study of studies, right?
It pulls together findings from lots of different studies to get a clearer picture.
Yeah, tries to give us a really solid overview. And this one looks specifically at the link between these language mindsets and, well, how well people actually do learn languages. Because I guess the researchers pointed out that previous studies didn't always agree.
That's exactly why you do a meta-analysis. Help sort through those inconsistencies, see the overall trend when maybe individual studies show slightly different results. This one really wanted to nail down that overall relationship.
And the scale is just, wow. They looked at 22 different studies.
Yep, 22 studies,
Hmm.
which involved 50 different effect sizes, basically 50 sets of findings.
And what, over 17,000 learners? That's that's a huge amount of data.
It really is a massive pool of participants.
Mhm.
And from all that, they were really focusing on two main ways people think about learning languages. The first one is the fixed language mindset.
Okay, so fixed mindset. For someone listening, what does that actually mean? Like, break it down.
Okay, so imagine you think your knack for language is kind of like,
Ah.
I don't know, your eye color, something you're just born with.
Right. You've either got it or you don't.
Pretty much. That's the core of a fixed language mindset. It's the belief that, language ability is mostly innate and there isn't a whole lot you could do to change it. You're either a language person or you're not.
Okay, so that's fixed. What's the other
Yeah.
side of the coin?
That's the growth language mindset.
Growth mindset. So that's the opposite, I'm guessing.
Completely. It's the belief that you absolutely can get better at languages. That,
Mhm.
through effort, through trying different strategies, learning from your mistakes, you can actually develop your skills over time.
Like building a muscle. You work at it, it gets stronger.
Exactly like that. It's seeing language ability not as fixed, but as something you can cultivate, something you can improve.
Gotcha. And the big question this huge study was trying to answer is how do these two mindsets actually connect to how well people learn?
Precisely. What's the real world link between holding one of these beliefs and your actual language learning outcomes? And our mission here is to pull out the key insights for you, the listener, thinking about your own learning.
All right, let's dig in. What did they actually find? Let's start with the fixed mindset. What's the connection there?
Well, what they found was a statistically significant negative correlation.
Negative correlation.
Yeah.
Okay, so in plain English, that means
It suggests that the more strongly you hold that fixed belief, the idea that your ability is set in stone, the more likely you are to, well, see lower levels of achievement in your language learning.
huh. So if I'm sitting here thinking, I'm just not good at languages, that thought itself might actually be hindering me.
That's what the overall data suggests, yes.
Yeah.
It's like that belief becomes a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy, maybe. You don't think you can improve, perhaps you don't put in the same kind of effort, or you shy away from challenges.
Yeah, okay, that makes intuitive sense. But they did say the correlation was weak, right? What does that mean practically? Should we dismiss it?
No, definitely not dismiss. Weak here, the value is articulation 0.19. It means it's not the only thing determining success, not by a long shot. Things like, your motivation, the quality of teaching, your study habits, they all matter hugely.
Sure.
But this weak correlation suggests that having a fixed mindset consistently acts like a small drag, a bit of a headwind, maybe.
A headwind, like that. Okay, so it's not a brick wall, but it makes the journey noticeably harder.
That's a good way to think about it. It's a factor, statistically significant across thousands of people, even if it's not massive on its own.
Okay, so what about the flip side, the growth mindset? What did the analysis show there?
Well, here the story is quite a bit more positive. They found a significant positive correlation between holding a growth language mindset and achieving better language learning outcomes.
Positive. So believing you can improve is linked to actually improving more.
Exactly. The more you believe that your efforts and learning strategies can genuinely develop your language skills, the more likely you seem to be to achieve greater success. It acts like, the opposite of a headwind. a tailwind.
A tailwind, okay.
Yeah.
And how strong is this tailwind? They called it relatively moderate. I think the value was RUO 0.26.
That's right, moderate. Which suggests, interestingly, that the positive impact of a growth mindset might be a bit more substantial than the negative drag of a fixed one.
Hmm. So believing you can grow gives you a bigger boost than believing you can't, holds you back.
That seems to be what the overall pattern in these 22 studies suggests, yeah. The positive link for growth was stronger than the negative link for fixed. It underscores that fostering that belief in your own potential for development is really quite important.
Okay, that's a really key takeaway. Now, something I'd immediately wonder is, does this apply equally to everyone? Like, does it matter if you're 16 or 60? Or if you're a total beginner versus someone who's, pretty advanced? Or learning in a classroom versus using an app? Did they look at that?
They did. That's exactly what researchers call moderator analysis. They checked if these correlations change significantly based on factors like age, your starting proficiency level, or the learning context, formal classroom, informal self-study, etc.
What'd they find? Does it change?
Well, this is quite striking. They found that, no, these associations did not significantly vary based on those factors.
Wow, really? So it doesn't really matter how old you are or how good you are already or how you're learning?
The overall trend seems to hold pretty steady across the board, according to this analysis. The negative link for the fixed mindset and the positive link for the growth mindset were found consistently, regardless of those different learner characteristics or situations.
That's actually really powerful. So for anyone listening, whatever your situation, this kind of applies.
It seems that way. It suggests these fundamental beliefs about learning potential have a fairly universal relevance in the context of language learning.
So if we boil all this down,
Yeah.
what's the main message for someone listening right now who's maybe struggling with French or trying to get better at Japanese?
The core message from this research is pretty clear. Really try to cultivate that growth mindset. Believing you can improve through effort and learning seems genuinely linked to better results. And maybe try to challenge any fixed mindset thoughts you might have. Reducing that fixed belief also appears important.
It's not just wishful thinking then. The belief itself seems connected to the outcome.
That's what this large-scale analysis points towards. These mindsets aren't just, fuzzy feelings. They seem to have a tangible correlation with achievement.
And the encouraging thing, I suppose, is that a mindset isn't necessarily, well, fixed, ironically. It's something you can potentially work on, right?
Absolutely. That's a crucial implication. While this meta-analysis was focused on finding the correlation, not testing interventions to change mindsets, the results strongly suggest that if you can shift towards a growth perspective, it could be really beneficial for your learning.
They also mentioned pedagogical implications. What does that mean for, say, teachers or even just how we structure our own learning?
Yeah, basically it signals that this isn't just for individual learners to think about. For educators, it suggests that how they frame tasks, how they give feedback, how they talk about challenges, all of that could potentially influence a student's mindset.
So creating a learning environment that encourages that growth idea.
Exactly. Fostering the belief that effort leads to improvement, that mistakes are learning opportunities. That kind of classroom culture could be really valuable based on these findings. It's not just what you teach, but how you encourage students to think about their own learning.
And like all good research, I bet it didn't claim to have all the answers. Did they suggest areas for future research? What don't we know yet?
Oh, definitely. They pointed out areas needing more investigation, like digging deeper into how these mindsets develop in the first place for language learners.
Right.
And how exactly they interact with other important factors. Motivation is a big one, or the specific learning strategies people use. And of course, a big question, what are the most effective ways to actually help someone shift from a fixed to a growth mindset in a language learning context? More research is needed there.
Okay. So wrapping this up for everyone listening, the big takeaway from digging into this research seems to be your beliefs about your own ability to learn a language really do matter.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Believing it's fixed is generally linked to doing less well. Believing you can grow and develop those skills, that's linked to doing better.
And that pattern seems pretty consistent across different people and different ways of learning.
So maybe the final thought to leave everyone with is something to reflect on personally. Thinking about these findings. How might consciously shifting your own beliefs about your potential influence how you approach the difficult parts of language learning?
That's a great question. If you started truly believing effort would pay off, how would that change how you react when you hit a wall or make a mistake.
Yeah. How might embracing that growth idea affect your persistence, your willingness to try new things, and, ultimately your progress?
It's definitely food for thought. Understanding and maybe even shaping your own mindset could be a really powerful tool in your language journey.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully this deep dive has given everyone some useful insights. Thanks for exploring this with us.